Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 764. Hopefully, you guys have had a great night. I've had a pretty good day and night myself. Looking forward to hanging out with this gentleman. I got a chance to meet him, another great person from the Organics Cup. Hightalian, you want to tell us how you're doing and where we can find you?
What's up, people? Rocky here, Hightalian Stallion. Yeah, Organic Cup was sick. My one of my favorite strains ever, the Banana Bucket, took second place, and I had some pretty stiff competition. So a lot of people were surprised and really, happy, and it was a show of like positivity that a New York, a new breed New Yorker can, really get the solventless game going. But yeah, I appreciate you having me, man, Eagle. You're a sweetheart, dude. The second I met you, we're real dudes, so we can, real recognize real, as they say. I don't like to say it, but as the kids say these days, that's how it goes. But yeah, if you look for me, I'm at Hightalian Rosin. And Instagram, you just spell out it all one word at Hightalian Rosin. I also have my website up going, hightalianrosin.com. But yeah, man, I'm for the people, brother.
So I use this thing to get to know some of the people that we see and find in the cannabis industry and the kind of community, if you will. So I always started off before we get started with that, what do you have available to smoke on this evening?
that's uh that's like going into Walmart and asking them what they have, brother. I'm a full-fledged delivery service out of here in Queens, NYC. But I called it Italian Rosin because we specialize in solventless hash oil. Me and some homies that grew up here, they went off to certain states to college, got their degrees. They also got a PhD in THC, I call it. You know what I mean? And I stayed here. I've been hustling in Queens since a young kid. Just the way it was here. And I came from a middle class upper family. I didn't need to, but it was just it was the times, man. I'm that's what we did. And then I realized this stuff, weed we called it, marijuana, which I don't like that term anymore, but we'll get to that later. But I realized, a lot of my friends were drinking, doing this, doing that, but then my other friends were smoking. Were like, hey bud, you want to come sit down with us, and we'll have an enlightening conversation, as a 15-year-old kid, stuff like that. But it was drawn to me right away. It was, it felt natural. It felt, I didn't have any insecurities. I didn't have any problems. I came from a great family. I always had friends, but it just felt right. I wasn't looking for anything, but we were hanging out. We're young. It was offered to me, and I was like, wow, this is, wow, this is for me. Like later did I know in life it would medicinally help too as well, but we can get into that. But yeah, that's pretty much how I started. Just a good homie with some really good tree. That's also too, like, I'm a snob. Like, I started off of, 2003 NYC Fire Sour Diesel, like, so like to smoke that as a first time, you're gonna get blown away. But that's how I originally started as a cannabis user.
So you did get high that first time. So I can't help but wonder. I've got a running theory going here. So
Yeah.
did was you near around it or at all before that first time?
No, the first time I got extremely, extremely high. Um, because I also did it right. We were young kids. People are like, do this, do that. The first time, a buddy of mine who was a couple years older rolled a cannon. Back in Queens, we rolled vanilla Dutches. They were, 80 cents. You unravel them, dump the guts, roll up a gram, and I was blown away. They were all laughing at me because after like what I felt it was like 2 seconds, it was really like 20 minutes. They're like, yo, you all right? Rocky? Like, you good? I'm like, I'm fine. What's wrong? They're like, you're laying on the ground, like just, just so you know. Um, but yeah, there was also, like you said, there was a couple times after that, and I felt nothing. It's such a versatile plant. Who knows? Maybe I was smoking some CBD. Also, I had a young developing brain. There's so many factors in this amazing just plant, like also connected to our personality, connected to the universe, like whatever made, this plant, made the sun, made we all come from soil, whether it be a plant, whether it be us, man, whether it be Eagle, whether it be Rocky, we're all from soil. You know what I mean? Like, that's been proven, you know, like it's insane. It blows my mind, and I'm extremely passionate about it. I have a really good team with unreal talents, and I just want to share my love for the plant and what it's done for me to the people. And when I came to Michigan, you guys treated me like I was one of your own. I took a 14-hour ride there with my wife, and without even thinking about it twice. You guys were the best.
Yeah, you guys were fun to hang out with, 100%, man. Yeah, you brought the lungs, that's for sure, man. Dabbing across the table there. 100%, man.
Yeah.
How long have you been dabbing like that, man?
So dabbing. So when I first started, actually, it was a new thing here, and it was all batter, butter, BHO, PHO. Some people were using propane to blast it. It was really bad for you. And the kids around here didn't know about, excuse me, about residual gases and vac ovening, getting everything out, like, or most of the residual gases out. So I would literally, I'll never forget, me and my buddy, we had the best weed in New York, and I I couldn't get that high anymore. We were rolling up 7 gram joints. I'm like, dude, I'm not getting high. So one day I come home from work. He was my roommate, and he goes, bro, I found it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, yo, check it out. And he put the old school titanium fucking nail with the old dome on it, and he put it on my Illadelph, on my bong, instead of the bowl. And little did I know, he heated it up to 1,000 degrees. He's like, just let it, once it's not white anymore, dab it. So I'm putting a monster glob of half butane amazing wax on this possibly 800 to 1,000 degree banger, like, and my mind was blown, right there. I was like, holy S, man, I'm high again. Like, like I was high for the first time in years. So like that started it all, then I was like, there's got to be more to this. There's got to be a better way to this. There's got to be stuff without gases, and I'm all about live resin. I love it. But solventless to me is king. Rosin is the future of THC.
Right on, right on. The first time I took anything close to a dab was more like it was more like an earwax or a butter. And
that's where we were at.
The fucking glass rod, heated up the glass rod and the oil pipe. And for me, it was kind of the opposite, because I was still getting high. And when I hit that, I was like too high, like bluffingly, like trying to not let on I was that high. But I remember when I exhaled off that shit, it felt like my head was like 10 feet above my body, like looking down on the circle. And I'm thinking, holy fuck, what the hell just happened? That ain't no weed. But it was some good fucking oil and shit, man. It definitely.
Eagle, you're the man, because what you just explained was what I told you before was my first experience with some really good sour diesel. It felt like, when I explained it to my boys, they're like, what do you feel like? I'm like, I feel like my head is like 100 feet away from my body. Like you just said, like I was detached, like it's funny stuff, man. It's a versatile plant, and it'll bring people that don't even know each other across the globe together at possibly the same times of day and night. You know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing.
So let's back up a little bit before the dabs. What kind of weed were you smoking that you were getting sick of? What was
I
floating
wasn't.
around? And I
This
guess
was
what time factor are we talking here?
so this. See, this was the problem. I wasn't getting sick of it. It's just like I started with just bomb. You know, like I was lucky enough to live in New York City, and when I started puffing, it was, you know, around 2000. You know, around 2001, which is when like really, really strong in New York, really strong frosty stuff, really that sour. The up our favorite was because I'm from Queens. We would go to Harlem and get the Uptown Haze. It was legit called Uptown Haze. It tasted, it looked, it smelled like nothing else, And then we had our fire diesel. You know what I mean? Like here. Or we had some bomb, what they called back in the day, exotics. I don't even know what the hell it was, but it was always really good weed. And it wasn't that it like wasn't good enough anymore. It was just that I was a glutton. You know what I mean? I was a cannabis glutton, and me and my homies would roll up. We were ahead of our times, dude. We would roll up like 6-gram Canagars and smoke it on three of us. And so 2-3 years of that, all of a sudden, a phenomenal pot's just not gonna do it anymore. And so we started adding hash, Moroccan, or we started adding keef. It just still wasn't doing it. We just had tolerances of, I call myself the THC gorilla. I've eaten up to 5,000 milligrams at once of THC. You know what I mean? And I was chilling doing dabs. You know what I mean? Like there's a couple, I'm not anything special. I'm just saying there's a certain very, very small percentage of heavy cannabis users that, are they're just kind of, there's just an anomaly a little bit.
Go ahead, say
I'm
it.
also a big guy
Kind of
too.
a
So I
can
can
of
handle a
freak
lot.
almost with the THC at that point. Holy shit, 5,000 milligrams.
Oh, bro, the next time we hang out together, you watch me, man. I'll eat 2 G's, 2,000 milligrams right in front of you. 10 minutes later, I'll eat another 3. All right, and then you'll be higher than me an hour later.
That's
I'm
crazy.
a freak, man.
Oh man, that's insane, my friend.
Yeah.
That's insane. So I guess all right. So yeah, I can see that a little bit as far as getting a little bit numb to the flower. But and I almost wondered, so all right. So was it all the time? Was it heavy consumption, or was it consumption in the same place all day?
No, it started like when I was a kid. It started like anything else, slow and progressed. Like there was a lot of, I was a young kid in New York City. Everybody's like, yo, try this, try that, try this, try that. Like I would see kids, drinking a bunch of booze. I don't have a problem with alcohol, do whatever you want to do. But I would see a group of my friends having 40s, and all of a sudden 2-3 hours later they would be screaming or fighting or something, and we'd already been home asleep, an hour before that, after getting like McDonald's or something. Cause like, we just wanted to get high and hang out and have funny conversations, like, so and then, I had friends was messing around with other stuff, and I saw, the results of that. I'm from a generation here in New York where I've lost, a lot of friends to opiates, just like I'm sure like every other state in this goddamn country. But I'm from my generation specifically. I've lost, I don't even want to say how many friends to horrible opiate addictions. And I've known for years not even to go close to anything like that. And I credit strong cannabis and, the revolution that it's become to keeping kids away from them, and you don't need that. You don't, I had a friend today. I gifted him today some of my phenomenal diamonds and some of my phenomenal grease bucket, which is my highest percentage hash rosin at the moment for THC. He does a little bit of mix of that. Done. You do a little deb. You're not feeling your back. You're gonna forget you have a back for 4 hours. You don't need these chemical bullshits, you know? Like I said, I don't sell a thing. This was all a friend I gifted to because, he's a friend of mine that does work for me. We're all trying to make it, a community. And that's the only way we're all going to survive and thrive through this.
Right. Yeah. So we are coming through like a different age. When I first started smoking, obviously like heavy extracts like that weren't a thing. So when a new user approaches you, do you necessarily slide them to dabs right off the bat, or do you suggest a flower for them?
Well, you know what? I have certain lines I use because right off the bat, if you're going to start THC from nothing, like from being a non-user whatsoever, and absolutely not. I am the biggest proponent for hash rosin and to dab it, especially with quartz nail vaporized correctly. Um, but absolutely not. If you're a new user, no, you do not go right to dabs. It'll turn you off from cannabis because of its strength. And also the only way to take it is you got to take a semi big hit, even if it's low temperature. But I would start, if people come to me and they say, like I said, for instance, before, my buddy who I gifted um the stuff for pain, he's a heavy cannabis user, maybe not concentrates, but he's a heavy cannabis user, period. And he smokes good shit. So I know, hey, you know what? You got serious back pain. Here you go, brother. You've, helped me build some of my house. Here's a couple of grams. Stay away from the goddamn oxys. The doctors and the government just want you on that shit to keep us all, away from each other. I'm not gonna get into that, but here you go. He hits me up an hour later, brother. I can't feel my back. I said, good. Enjoy a movie. Go to sleep. You know, this is medicine, man. Like I had an undiagnosed brain disorder, none less than 11 years ago. All of a sudden, I started having massive seizures, out of nowhere. And the doctors didn't know where it was coming from because I didn't have the same epileptic patterns, they called it, in my brain as someone who has epilepsy. And all of a sudden, I started using all these, I had to listen to my doctors. This is what I was taught growing up. So I started taking different anti-seizure medications, chemical pills. And you know what happened? I started having more seizures. Then I finally found a great doctor. And for real, it's not all about cannabis. It's about people too, man. Like the smart doctors. And you know what? I do need some of this chemical anti-seizure pill I take. But because of the hash rosin, I now take half of it. You understand? And maybe in another year and a half, maybe I'll take a quarter of it. Like there's things that are changing. It's 2022. I'm not against, I THC is my pride and joy, with my wife and my children, but it can't cure everything, but it cures almost everything, and it will help with any type of pain or any type of. If I have a really bad morning where I wake up, have a sinus or a chest cold, I'll do a little extra hot dab, of a little sativa, and sit there for 5 minutes and cough my brains out and get all the garbage out of my lungs and throat. And an hour later, I'll sound and feel like a different person. There's many different uses for all this stuff, but to answer your question in the beginning, absolutely not. I would not recommend dabs. I mean, dabs is a big term, but it's a term for just using hash oil in a certain manner. But I would not recommend dabs for a first time user. I would recommend what I always tell people is, hey, take some really good weed, roll up a joint, take 1 or 2 hits of it, give it a half hour. Give it, see how you feel. If you don't feel anything, take another 2, maybe 3 bigger hits. I guarantee you, within another half hour, you will feel it. You know what I mean? Straight up. And then we're all different. It's person to person. So some people can stay that way their whole lives. Some people in different medical situations or emotional situations, any kind of situations, can find their own rhythm of this plant, which has been banned for so long because of that reason specifically. You know, the government wants to tell us you have to take this many pills this many times a day. No, you can figure it out yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I'll never forget realizing, wow, a dab in the morning, a dab at night. Oh, all of a sudden, a dab at lunchtime too. I cut my chemical intake of these anti-seizure pills in half with just ice, water, and bud. And an insane process. Yes, it's very expensive, but it's better for the world. It's better for everyone. The only reason we're sitting on chairs made of wood right now, like I said, is because of William Randolph Hearst. It's all conditioning. We should be sitting on chairs made of hemp right now. But you know what? William Randolph Hearst in the early 1900s bought 1,000,000 acres of wood and timber and said, we have to sell all this and we have to figure out a way. So everything's made from paper and wood. And even though there was two brothers across the lake that invented a machine called the decorticator that broke down hemp almost 100 times or more than 100 times faster than timber, and it was a gazillion times cheaper at the time, but it didn't matter because William Randolph Hearst needed to make his money. You understand? We need to get rid of that greed BS. You know what I mean? There's so much money for all of us, and we can, I barter all the time, like, I use a lot less cash nowadays because I have a sought after product and it's good and people like it. And, why use my money? Like we all do the same thing. We all know it.
100%. If I sat here and told you I'd never bartered for anything, I would be a liar. Yeah, I have most 100% bartered with flour many times. The first time I seen the Trailer Park Boys and that old Ricky had the hash coins, I was like, genius.
Here's a tenner and a fiver, dude. All my friends make fun of me because they tell me I look like Ricky, and I was like, I don't see it, but whatever. But they're like, and that's before you even said Trailer Park Boys, bro. That's probably my favorite show of all time. I think it's like one of the most underrated, smartest shows ever. But Ricky, when they started that whole I think it was called Money. Can we curse on this? Or?
Oh, hell yeah.
I've read the episode. I'll never forget it. The episode was Money Can Suck My Cock. And I'll never forget they opened it up. And Ricky goes, I realized everybody that I deal with smokes hash. So, like, why give them money? When, so I started making these coins. And he has a little Play-Doh thing that one of my daughters uses. He's like, here's a 10 and a 5. One of my favorite things on earth is everybody on that show has the exact same reaction to Ricky's barter. They all look at the coins, smell them, shrug their shoulders in happiness, and put them in their pocket. And Ricky gets what he wants. What's the problem with that? You know what I mean? What's wrong with that? That's like you being, like, hey, I make a great pizza. No doubt. Yo, Eagle, I make a phenomenal Caesar salad. Cool. Let's switch one up. What's the problem with it? There's no difference, It's a goddamn plant. Excuse me, it's a plant, Oh,
100%. I've actually purchased tires and everything with flour.
Anything. You name it, man. I've got my pipes fixed, man. Like there's, the second anybody walks into my house and they go, well, I've never smelled anything like that before. I'm like, I know, because you've never had anything like that before. So how about doing this for, 300 less, something like that. But yeah. Pardon my all knows. I'm a little tired. It's a little late here in New York, but I usually don't say this much. But yeah, this is great, man. I'm having a blast.
So I guess when it comes to dabs, when did temperature come into play? When did you start really realizing, holy shit, I'm doing something wrong here? Because we've all done it.
It happened to me about, I would say, 7 months into heavy dabbing, to like daily dabbing. because we were still on titanium and glass domes. This is before even like a domeless titanium was made. Right before, I forgot what it was. Highly Educated made some kind of domeless titanium. Excuse me. But I started realizing, because after like 2 months, my chest was really. I've always been a big kid, but I've been athletic, and I played all sports. I'm from Queens. I'm a handball maniac. But I noticed there's some kind of heaviness to my chest, and it reminded me of when I was younger, when I used to smoke cigarettes, which I've quit for years. But as a smoker, sometimes you wake up in the morning and you cough up this gross stuff, and I realized it was the same kind of feeling, and I said, so I started doing some research, and it took a while, but I learned about, the process and how sometimes there's residual gases. So then I started looking for better, more like, better people that don't want to hurt you, that want you to have cleaner products like me. I want, Hightalian, just, cleaner is better, for everyone, for the unit, for the planet, just for in any aspect of the word, cleaner. It's better. So then we started finding bubble hash instead of the batter and this stuff. So we started dabbing really good bubble hash, but it was like really expensive, But luckily, at that point, we were living at home. We had some money to burn, and we started reading. I started seeing these Frenchy cannoli little title, little things. It was ahead of my time. I got lucky. That was a big factor too, and I'm not gonna lie, it's luck. I was surrounded. Excuse me. I was surrounded by people who knew, what was gonna happen. Especially in New York. And I'm still educating people on solventless. But once I realized there was nothing else in this stuff, and it was getting me even higher and more medicinally beneficial, and it was just ice and water and buds and pressure, it was like, well, what's there to think about here, guys? I don't want to smoke, food grade butane, like it was a no-brainer. And so then I started educating myself for 15 years. Luckily I'm a born salesman. Got the whole team doing it all, and I'm doing the rest. So this is what we're doing, baby. Living the dream.
I can appreciate that 100%, man. 100%. I hate to zigzag back and forth on you, but there was a question that I wanted to ask you that kind of brain farted when we were talking about your epilepsy there, and this being a medicine for you that helps that. Is it just dabs that you're handling that with, or are you actually kind of ingesting some of that rosin, kind of like a hashish in its natural form?
Well, there's two things. I dab daily, personally, and I also make my own rosin infused coconut oil. So I'm also a couple of times a week eating a meal with cooking with my heavy rosin infused coconut oil. But I have to be very careful that nobody else gets that, because it's very medicinal for me, but for somebody else, they will see stars for a couple hours. But that was a great question. Yeah, but I use it in vaporizing it through my rig, and I also ingest it through my liver. But the not personally for me, but the most amazing thing about cannabis for epilepsy is, I'm sure you've heard of RSO, Rick Simpson oil. It's one of the earliest, honey oil ever. That will literally stop a seizure in its tracks, unlike a younger human being, if you shoot it under their tongue real quick. If you have the capability, some people have very violent seizures, can't go near their mouths. But if you have the capability of a young child having a seizure, and you shoot a little food syringe, a little spot under their tongue, and they quickly, ingest it, you can stop a seizure in the matter of 45 seconds. It's scientifically proven. It's a fact. It's THC does nothing but help the brain. But what I do really like to point out is, and this is something I wish I've known at a younger age, is the one thing it does do in a negative manner, the only negative thing it does is it starts to stunt the growth of your cerebral cortex, which is a a huge part of your ability to learn, which doesn't fully develop until you're around 24 or 25. But I'm going to be honest with you. I feel great. I've been using it daily since I'm 14, but this is scientifically proven. So I would suggest to a younger child, a younger person, or, unless, of course, there's different cases for everything, if you're on a deathbed, this and that, of course, but it shouldn't really be used heavily until you're around 25 years old.
I agree with that. I've heard those numbers myself, but I'm right there with you. Myself and most everybody I know has been smoking cannabis as far back as I can remember.
Exactly. Yeah.
For the
that
most
one
part, I
skipped
think
us.
we're all right. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah. Most of us are all right, but some of us could have been like famous comedians. Who knows? You know what I mean? But no, it's I have nothing but love for this beautiful. It's the most versatile plant Mother Nature has ever given us.
In some aspects, it's kind of one of the reasons why I asked you if you got high that first time or you did get high, because as I talk to more people and I'm learning, I try to learn something every day. I mean, I no way know it all. I try to be very open-minded. And there's a couple of things I've learned about cannabis. Is one, that our endocannabinoid system is forever changing. So at an earlier age, cannabis may not be affecting us the way that it does now. You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that. You're absolutely right. It's constantly evolving. Yeah.
So
That's that's a great point, Eagle. Yeah.
Well, so that's one of the that's a multi-layered thing, to be honest with you, because my initial thought was, and that if you didn't get high that first time, that you just weren't around it. You know what I mean? Your family circle was that tight. You never necessarily had been around an older brother, sister smoking around you. You never inhaled it. And you have like a barrier over those CB1 and 2. There's actually 3 or 4 receptors. You know what I mean? There's a barrier, and you needed that almost cherry to be popped. You know what I mean? So the first time you smoke it, you necessarily didn't get high. And I found that, that seems to be for the most part true. But it's not until I kind of like was talking to you that I thought, well, maybe it's not necessarily that, but maybe it could be a maturity factor too. You know what I mean?
It's what you just said too, though. I took like 2, 3, maybe even 4 really fat, solid hits. And at this time, I was young. I thought it was cool. I was smoking cigarettes, so I hit it like a cigarette. I hit it really hard, and I really, my first time, I really smoked. And there was a couple, and like you said, I remember seeing some of my friends like hit a joint and then just puff out a puff. And it was like, but why does my smoke look like a stream, like a train engine, because you can tell how it comes out, you inhaled or not. So like with what you just said is dead on, because we don't know. I didn't know. The only reason I knew how to inhale was because 1, my friend told me, and 2, I had already been smoking cigarettes, like a young idiot. So thank God, man, I haven't smoked a cigarette in years. But yeah, like I was lucky enough to have the good buddies to show me the right way to do it. But there was other times, I didn't. So even with that same use, inhaling, so it's so versatile. I have no idea, I don't. I'm still studying every day. I'm still learning something new about this plant every day. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And another reason why I asked about the hash versus the dabbing is I've got another friend of mine that insists that hash rosin is probably the best form of medicine next to the RSO oil, because it's been more cold worked up until that press, and less things are actually taken out of it. So to actually kind of eat that rosin as a medicine like that, you were, kind of losing very little. And, it was a good pure form to take it. But I,
100%. And when you're eating it, you have to almost there's a whole other process, because I take a lot of my leftover stuff and I will take, scalding hot coconut oil, pour it into my jars, right? Shake it around, get them all married together. Then you got to decarbox them again. I'll boil those jars in a pot with boiling water for, up to 45 minutes. There's a whole process. There's all these crazy processes, but you can keep using it. It's amazing, because you can't just eat, like with my rosin. You throw it on the nail, you smoke, you smashed, and you used it. You're medicated. But if you just take a piece of my rosin and eat it, nothing will happen. It has to be heat activated. I'm sure, as you know. So with the coconut oil, I reactivate it. It's a process called decarboxylation, to where I reactivate it to perform on ingestion instead of heat. So like it breaks down through your liver, which once again also affects, it's not like a distillate or a butter. This is rosin. So it's way heavier. So like if you had 100 milligram rosin dinner, it's really like eating like a 200 milligram distillate dinner, and it's completely solventless. There's no nothing in there. It's ice, water. The only three ingredients in the beginning of rosin are the same things that made us and the sun and the soil. You know what I mean? It is the future of THC, and I truly believe that. I say that everywhere I go. That's purposely why I named it Hightalian rosin. I specialize in a lot of things, but the number one is my solventless hash oil, and I am proud to death of it.
right. Excuse my, would you consider this to be a sissy stick?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I didn't hear.
I said, would you consider this to be a sissy stick?
What is
When it
that?
comes,
I don't even know what that means. You got to give me that Michigan term.
oh, basically, yeah. When this compared to a dab rig, basically, kind of a sissy stick.
You said a sissy stick.
Yeah,
I got you.
yeah,
Nah,
sissy
see,
stick.
like I don't like. Listen, I don't make fun of my friends, but they're like, "Yo, let me put it in my puff car." I'm like, "Yeah, go for it." I'm a, I love to, you truly get the most out of your hash rosin when you smoke it at the right temperature. Like, but there's users that love the terpenes. I do both. So I'll do some. It's all about, also, just like the plant, it's all about us. It's all about what mood we're in. We're all versatile. So sometimes I need to get home from an insane day. I'll heat up my nail for a minute straight. I'll wait another minute and throw a banger in there, a 0.2, and just smash it out in 6 different dabs, and be just totally evened out, and ready for the rest of the day. Take care of the rest of my life, the day of that, my life that day. But other times, my throat hurts a little bit, or I got some new stuff that I just processed that I really want to taste the terpenes and the full profile. So I'll put it in cold. They call it a cold start, and I'll just heat it up for, I don't know, 8 seconds. And you barely get a hit, but you get the full, complete flavor profile. And then after that, you just keep reheating it and you get hot. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, I totally prefer a fully heated up banger with a little bit of a wait. And I'm old school. Like, a lot of these kids need the temp text these days and all these things. I know a minute. I wait a minute, maybe a minute 20. I'm set. I haven't chazzed a banger since I started. So I'm doing something right.
All right. You want to take a second and get medicated with me? I'm gonna refill my stick here. Man, I can't
Sure.
do the bangers anymore. I still got some, and I occasionally hit them, but man, I don't have the capacity like you do, man. It just seems like a waste for me. This
Dog,
thing,
yeah,
this little boulder. I'm glad that's who
I'm
brings it.
lucky, man. It's just what it
Perfect
is.
for me.
It's my lung capacity, man. I'm like a bear. I got right now. I have one of my favorites. It's the strongest one in my crew. It's the grease bucket. Trying to get a nice look at it.
Oh, that's nice.
But I manicure all my grams perfectly. I circle and I patty them out, and I give them a nice couple of slices. So when you open it up, it brings all the terpenes to the surface. You know what I mean? There's a whole there's a whole process to all this. But I bought this to show you just the absolute strength. Like this is for my homies that have tolerances like myself. That's the grease bucket. Now I will gladly get medicated with you, but let me know. Should I mute it while I torch? Should we just hang out and get high together and talk after? What do you want to do?
I think we've all heard of torch. It ain't. I don't think you're really gonna, send anybody
Cool.
packing. We're good.
I'll do a cold hot start for you. All right.
Uh, Hell yeah. I'm smoking a little bit of my buddy for Growley, says Mr. Clean. Pretty nice stuff.
I
Though.
heard about the Mr. Clean. I heard it was fire.
Yeah, I've done a lot of years in the trades myself, and yeah, that shit's just brutal for my lungs, the rig these days. The smaller one ain't so bad, but and I can't. I actually had a friend of mine actually had to teach me how to dab. If you want to be
Oh,
honest with it,
I've taught hundreds of people how to dab. This is one of my favorite pieces at the moment. This is from my homie Wavy Glass. Let me give you a full look. It's a nice low water piece. With hash rosin, you want low water piece so you get the most out of it. You don't need to clean, your hash rosin like you do a bong with flour, like it's more about adding smoothness to your smoke. But this is a nice low water little 4-hole Taurus. I'm gonna throw a fat little ball of grease bucket in there with my pearls. You do your thing, man. And we'll fucking get it going, baby. Clouds for days.
so when I was said that I had to have a friend teach me how to dab, my mistake is I would go at that thing like a bong and just rip at it. And my buddy would told me, and I'm like hack, hack, hack. He was like, hit it,
Like
let
anything
half
else,
out,
man.
and then hit it again. Warm them lungs up a little bit, expand them out, and then take a second. And that was great advice. It was much easier on my lungs after that.
Yeah, that's all. Cold starts, that's what you do. You heat it up a little bit, couple more times, but you know what? You also save a ton of butane. So butane's expensive these days. I'm gonna heat this one up a little hotter and really get a cloud going right now.
Mm. We lost you there for a second, man. That was a heavy cloud.
Yo, I'm trying to show off. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, fully medicated, baby.
So how
That's
is
my
the
nighttime meds. Don't need any more for tonight. I am set. Stuff is strong. Excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. I'm Italian. I'm very anal. I have to meticulously clean my nail after every use. Excuse me, or else the flavor, everything, it goes away. So, what are you smoking on? What you got in that pen of yours? What
that
did you
was
call it? A sissy stick?
sissy stick? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
This is
What you
my
smoking on?
some
Oh yeah, that Mr.
Fabroli.
Clean. Nice.
Yeah, he does some pretty good work. A little bit left in there. Pretty nice
That's a beautiful
stuff.
color. Beautiful color.
So,
Excuse me.
do you feel that color is actually with color remediation and shit like that? Do you think that color is even a sign of anything anymore?
Not with color. Yes, with solvents, absolutely. With hash rosin, absolutely not. Um, we got a thing here in New York City. Excuse me. It's almost like a lighter color, like a white or a light tan is always going to be better. You know what I mean? That's not the case whatsoever. All strains wash and press different colors. I've had some Tropicana cookies, Eagle, that the water in my rosin bag was purple. You know what I mean? But then after we, you know, fresh froze, we did everything and pressed it, it came out a nice dark orange. Some of the best hash rosin I ever smoked in my life. And it was a dark orange. You know what I mean? I also had some of the best hash rosin I ever smoked in my life. Some sour, what was it? Yeah. It was some sourdough and some grape pie from these homies back in the day that were doing a delivery service here in Queens. And that was like white as a ghost, you know? But it's also, there can be some trickery involved also, which I don't fuck with. Any of my lighter color rosins are just, that's the strain. Because a lot of, it's becoming so mainstream now. A lot of people are, to to get a white color, you can also pull the plant early, you know, and do everything quicker and all. It's a moneymaker thing. You know what I mean? So whiter is not always better. You know, the true thing is educate. If you're gonna smoke hash rosin and you're gonna vape and you're gonna medicate correctly, it's on you. Read it. Read a goddamn book if you have to. You know, like you should know what you're smoking. You know, you should know what you're dabbing. I talked to some of my doctors about it. I've talked to cannabis doctors. I've talked to my PCP about it. Just it's legal. Ask your doctor about it, or ask somebody who knows a pro about it, like you would ask about Coca-Cola, because that's what it's becoming now. Except it's good for you. Coca-Cola will kill you. Look at me. You don't drink Coca-Cola. It's not good for you. But weed, yeah, it's good for you.
100%. So as far as like making your own hash there, you were absolutely right. I think well, for one, I think the pulling early, I don't necessarily agree with. I seen that on the West Coast there, what, about fucking 10 years ago when they really started trying to really produce the beach sand. And I honestly thought of it more of a large scale grow to get out of fucking trimming and shit. Man, we'll just pull it early, freeze it, and make some shit out of it. Yeah, guess what, kids? Clears you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cleared this, you want the light colored shit. That's the new trend, but you've changed the whole high of it and everything by pulling early.
Well, it's also lessened the whole high as well, because all the THC didn't fully develop. So now you're getting possibly 10% each unit less. What could have been 56 to 69% THC is now 42% THC, just because people want it to look like you said, beach sand. Like, no, I don't care. A true connoisseur, a true needer of the medicine knows. After you looks right away, yes, looks are great. Presentation's great. Smell is great, absolutely. But you have to use it, and you have to use it clean in a certain situation, and you'll know. Like anything else, you know, like anything else. The more you know, the more you know. The more you do it, the more you know. read about it. You know, I had a pit bull years ago. First thing I did before I adopted my pit bull, I read a book about Staffordshire Terriers. You know what it did? It made me a great, phenomenal pit bull owner. You know what I mean? It's like anything else. Like, read about what you're doing. You know what you're doing. I was always a true lover of cannabis since the first day I used it. So I realized, this is cool, man. I remember telling my dad when I was 25, that was only, you know, wasn't, I'm growing up, but I remember telling him, you watch, man, this is gonna pay the bills. And you go in New York, absolutely. I'm not gonna have to leave the hood. Okay, we're gonna get a Beetlejuice house on the top of Queens, and we're all just gonna be hanging out, stuff like that. And it's becoming true. You know why? Because we're all communal. You gotta be together. Otherwise, it's all gonna be McDonald's. Weed is gonna turn into Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, and that's it.
So where do you source your own stuff? Are you
Everything
growing
is
your own
saying,
material?
excuse me. Everything I do is all me. Of course, it's not all me. My beautiful wife is my second half and my business end, but I have a team of my homies that I grew up with here in Flushing, in Queens, that do it all out of an undisclosed location here on the East Coast. But yeah, it's all single sourced, small batch. You're not getting, all my homies who are giving all the services $100 to $120 a gram for, I'm not going to name brands, but for high, very sought after brands that literally on the back of the jars said it was 5 months old. I'm, doing something a little different, a lot fresher for a lot cheaper. And it's also a lot better. I don't mind saying it. I'm a humble guy, but we're getting real good at it. And I'm real excited for the future of this plant, straight up. I just, I'm not a greedy guy. I want us all to eat. I want everybody to prosper off of this beautiful plant it's free to us. What do we have to ask our government or anybody else what to do with it? I can do whatever the hell I want with it. It's my plant. Leave me alone. That's how I feel.
So how do you guys make your choices as far as strains? And it's always a tough decision with hype.
Dude,
Is it a matter of chasing hype or what you think is going to be quality? I mean, that's a
dude.
toughie.
Well, you know what, man? I'm gonna be fully honest with you here. Everything is hype. First of all, everything is hype. But what I found out, successful wise, if you mean like product wise, what's been the best strains, like the best finished grams, has been super hybrids. I've realized that, like, I've had a really good yield with a certain strain, and then I've had a really good yield with another certain strain of a completely different flavor, completely different terpenes in it, and we go, you know what, let's do it. Let's whip it together. We do stuff. So I'll have, like, right now, I have what was it? One of my I think it's my garlic melons. It's literally my black garlic crossed and whipped with my garlic bucket, which is black garlic and banana bucket. So that's already 4. Plus whipped with my papaya melons, which is another hybrid of straight papaya and gelato melons. So you're getting in 1 gram a possibility of 7 different hash rosins whipped all into one and then cured hard body. I'm doing certain things that are working out well. Some things aren't. You can't win them all. I grew some of the best sour diesel. I can't say pardon me, my team, my grower, who's a monster, grew some of the greatest sour diesel I've ever seen since back in the day, since 2008. You know what happened? It made unbelievable bubble hash. It was phenomenal. I couldn't wait to press this hash, Eagle. Second we pressed it, Cake just turned into cake, got no drip, zero. You know what? That's the 10th to 12th time that's happened. You have to, you have to keep trying different stuff. And to be honest with you, I now have some staple flavors that I always cross because they're always phenomenal. And they always, some of them do really good things for certain things that we need mentally or physically, and or both. And some things help you out anxiety wise, socially, things like that. Some just make you not an asshole, you know, not to be funny. But my doctor, she's a sweetheart, and she's like, why do you use so much THC? Your lungs are great. She told me, she's like, you have some of the best lungs I've ever seen. We did an MRI, but I just want to know, why do you use so much THC? And I said, I'm going to be honest with you, doc, because I'm an asshole. And I couldn't help but smile. I'm from New York, and we're not all assholes. Trust me. That's a total stereotype. But me, I'm a fucking New York asshole. Okay. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't drink coffee. When I wake up in the morning, I go downstairs and I fucking do a quick dab, and it's all right. Let's get to it. That's straight up. I don't need another reason. Yes, I do have medicinal benefits that I have from it, but also it made me a better person. Straight up. Makes me a better father. It makes me a better husband. It makes me a better worker. I've never been working harder in my life, and I've never been happier.
So I wanted to give you a little bit of credit, man. I appreciate you spreading the credit around, giving credit where credit is due, not necessarily, it's all me, it's all me. You
No.
made several attempts to, tip your hat back that there is a team, and other people are helping you out. Most definitely cheers to you and your better half, if you will. It's awesome to see candid couples. They're not always, you don't see a lot of them, and it's awesome that it's something that you can share with. You know what I mean? It's easier to do when you got full support. You know what I'm saying?
Eagle, I appreciate you bringing that up because I was actually raised by two parents who were married and worked together every single day for over 40 years. So I saw too. That's insane. You know what I mean? I'm a married man. I'm a young man. We've been married a while, but I couldn't do not just the business without her. Fi is my backbone of life. And yes, just like you said, I do have a team. It's not just me and Fi. We have a very small team, which is also a key, and I'm going to keep everything in control no matter what happens with quality wise, growth wise, anything. But Fi is my absolute backbone. And I couldn't be luckier to have a wife who is smarter than me and knows all the things that I don't. So she perfectly balances me out. Because I can do what I need to do and not have to worry about, you know what I mean? That's a very big deal for me. So I appreciate you pointing that out, man. I really do. Thank you.
Oh man, you guys were an awesome couple, man. And you could see the support, that day when I met you. And I think, like I said, man, I appreciate shit like that. You know what I mean? Not so many people are so lucky to have that. So shout out to you guys, man. It's
I
awesome to
appreciate it,
see.
man. I appreciate that, man. I am very lucky. I am.
So I guess
Appreciate it, bro.
back to the hash talk a little bit there. So when you guys are putting your stuff together, is it straight to the freezer? Is there a little bit of a dry time? I know every hash artist has a little bit of different method there. If you don't mind, you want to talk a little bit of yours?
Certain strains I dip and I put right in the freeze. Certain strains go right directly in the freeze. It's all so different. Like I said, right now I'm working with a main. I would say for my hash rosin, the main 18 different strains.
Nice.
at the moment. So hopefully I have, not hopefully, I should, almost always have nice six, at least 6, 7 strain choice. But it's all relative to that plant, man. Those plants, I realize, man, when they grow them, they're like us. They're people. That there could be a bushel. That bushel is a family, just like my family is. There could be a fucking crazy guy right here, right next to his brother Bud, who is totally calm, totally chilling. You understand? It's the same thing. You know what I mean? So, like sometimes different buds and different strains react differently. I might separate, like if I get a certain growth where it's like, because it's all usually the same. I'm all about big bud growths. I love when they come out in big buds, you know? Like I love ounce buds, you know what I mean? Big ounce nugs. Those though, a lot for me have not worked well for my hash rosin, so I use them for other things. That's what I mean. There's no losing, And then when you do lose, this plant is so strong and this community is so strong, you make it up and you make it up fast. And I couldn't wait to come out to Michigan. They're like, "Oh, it's only 14-hour drive." Oh, yeah, no problem. Done. There and back in 30 hours. It was nothing. And I'll be there again, at least twice a year, as much as I can. I can't wait to see you guys again.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed your experience here in Michigan. We definitely, as far as the events go, uh, we definitely enjoy the community. That's 100%. See a lot of the same folks, in some of these, and get to know each other a little bit. So it's kind of like a reunion almost, if you will.
No, absolutely. I could tell that. A lot of people knew when I walked in, I could tell a lot of people, excuse me, a lot of people knew each other. And it was funny. I get there, some people put me on camera and then I'm getting calls on my phone, from some of my buddies go, make sure you talk to this guy. Tell him I told him this. Make sure you talk to this guy. I told him this. We're all a family, Eagle. I'm from New York City and I got guys calling me from other cities telling me to say hello to a guy I've never met from another city. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
So how has the, legalization how have you has it made it so you've seen a lot more new stuff there in New York? I actually am jealous of the public consumption there that you guys
Um,
got.
that's the only real legal thing, to be honest with you, is public consumption. And I enjoy it because I really only dab at my home medicinally, but I'm also trying to build a brand, so I might make a video on Instagram where I'm out somewhere, and bang, fucking blowing a cloud into the middle of a fucking parking lot. Excuse me. But that's really the only thing that's really, legal here so far in terms of cannabis. Like you can't really sell it, you know. They kind of said they would back off if you do, but who knows how long their words are going to last, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the Wild Wild West right now. But the one thing, like you just said, is cool as fuck. I can go in front of a precinct, right? Like where all police officers are like smoking their cigarettes and like just like torch up my mini rig. Like I haven't done this, of course, but just it's funny to think that you can, because torching a mini rig is the same thing. You're just you're smoking cannabis. Yo, leave me alone. This is how I smoke my weed. So it's just funny. It's cool and it's funny to laugh about it. I've never done anything like that. But if you wanted to, you can go in front of a precinct and do a gigantic dab and make a video. But you know, that's some crazy shit. You know,
Have you ever?
I
Have
haven't,
you
and I would
ever?
never do that. But you know,
No.
no, I don't think so.
Right.
But it's not legal. If you're some, you know, little kid that wants to look cool, go for it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I hope that becomes more legal sooner is a consumption lounge like that, man. Cannabis is definitely meant to be smoked with friends, consumed with friends. Uh I hope that's something we see soon. If that comes a thing, is will we see a high Italian dab bar?
Dude, the sky's the limit, Eagle. And you know what? I'm already at a bar. The Astor Club. Shout out to my homie Matt at the Astor Club in Manhattan. It is the highest society smoking lounge in Manhattan. And there's no better place to go. Every time I've been to that place, I've met like a boxer or celebrity. It's hilarious. It's a small little spot, you know, beautiful little spot in the city. But that's it's not a dispensary, you know. It's a you hang out. It's a lounge. You go chill, you know. And you, like you said, it's something to be done communally together. So I every time I've been there, I've met at least 6, 7 new people, you know. And yeah, they've got some banging shit there. There's a couple other stuff, a couple other places, but it's really not. Nah, there's really not many lounges. Dispensaries are very sparse. Uh, a lot of people are afraid of getting raided, stuff like that. But it's only a matter of time before that's all over. New York needs the money. They can't say no anymore. There's people leaned out on dope and heroin everywhere, and they're gonna worry about weed. It's just a joke now, you know. So soon enough, my friend.
Right on. I wish we'd kind of they've made us work around loopholes so many times and change wording. You know what I mean? So I almost just for and just kind of for the reason you just spoke about, man. Each time you go, you make 6 different people and shit. We need to quit calling them consumption, centers and shit like that. We need to
Just call it a bar or a
I
lounge.
want I want to go back to, you know what a Rotary Club is?
Oh my God, like the Knights of Columbus?
Well, the Rotary Club's like a membership where, all people from, different walks go and have like a monthly meeting and shit like
I like
that.
that. I like that.
So what's
I like that.
stopping the Cannabis Rotary Club from getting together and consuming and meeting new people and networking, just like you're saying,
Yo,
you
Eagle,
know?
I'm gonna give you some words of advice from the greatest rapper of all time, all right? And it's never let your so-called mans know your plans. All right? That's a phenomenal idea you have. Keep that to yourself, all right? Never let your so-called mans know your plans. That's a great idea. Cannabis Rotary Club, CRC, right there. There you go. Brother, phenomenal idea. You keep that to yourself. Don't tell anybody else.
Except the few people are watching, all the people that will
Except a
watch.
couple thousand what you got going on. I'm sure they're all great people and all keep them to themselves. But that's a
They
great idea. I love that. Sounds old school. Reminds me of the old days, that these new kids will have no idea ever existed.
Well, it's multi-layered. I mean, for one, we could network with our cannabis and, just people, individuals, but we all have secondary or have had secondary lives or talents, man. As far as besides cannabis, I mean, we're carpenters, doctors, lawyers, you know what I mean? We're coming out of the woodwork these days. I mean, before it was like, the only ones that would fess up are like the skilled trades, man. You could find a carpenter that smoked and shit like that. But now that it's more legal, man, we got more and more cannabis users from every phase of life. So why not? You know what I mean? Put
And
it
you
to
know what?
work.
Yeah, I apologize to cut you off. You're absolutely right though. And if it's not more people, that are using now. It's just now people aren't afraid anymore. It's not a stigma. It's not like, oh, this person uses cannabis. Like, it's we're moving. We're getting places. I'm happy.
Right on. So I guess yeah. Do you see yourself? I guess same kind of question. Do you see it in a brick and mortar, or would you prefer the delivery system kind of?
I don't want to go too crazy into that. In Queens here, it's a little different here, but delivery service all day. All day.
Right on.
Yeah. There's less overhead. You can even have pickup zones. There's things you can do now. It's going to be like Uber. Trust me, this is just the beginning.
Well,
Just
that's
the
not,
beginning.
I guess, in all fairness, and I've never been to New York. I only know New York from the people that I've met and the shit that I've seen on TV. But you guys have had, you know what I mean, bodegas, delivery services, and shit like that for a long time. This shit ain't nothing new to you guys, is it?
Well, once again, shout out to the Astor Club, my homie Matt. He was the first man. Excuse me, the first I remember when I think it was back in '08 when I came back from Amsterdam. All of a sudden, there was this thing called the farmers market, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And then all of a sudden, somebody showed up at your house with eighths, 20 different kinds of bud, and they were all amazing, and then you'd see the price and you would throw up, you know, but it was amazing stuff, so you're right. It isn't new, but in the in the long scheme of things, it is kind of new. It's only 2022, but services have been going around here since at least 2005. Yeah. But without a doubt, services, less insurance, less to worry about, just less everything. Even pickup, you like zones, stuff like that. But with what you said about regarding bodegas and stuff like that, I'm firmly against them. Unless you
Yeah.
like really know the person, and they're a good dude. Because guys in bodegas and gas stations, they don't know shit about weed. They don't know what a terpene is. They couldn't like tell you what THC stands for. It's just they have some salesman come into them, and whatever price they like and looks pretty to them, they take, and then they just lie to you about what it is. That's how bodegas get down here in Queens. So as I say to my friends, friends don't let friends buy weed at gas stations. You know what I mean? Straight up. And there's no excuse to either, brother. Everybody knows somebody now. You know.
Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah. That'd be a terrible day when that's the case, I would think.
Nah, you know what? It already is the case, but they're not good, and people are getting smarter and more educated. So that's the bodega stuff's not going to last, and those are the people getting begged. So we'll see.
So on average, how many grams would you say you go through a day with them big fat dabs? And is it all right? Is it this may sound a little cliche, but is it the
How many
size of the dab?
grams?
I mean, because before when we first Devin first started, man, you'd see people like you said, man, the big old hot dabs and shit like that. So is it the size of the dab these days? I mean, do you have to take a monster 1 grammer
Dude,
or
nah, I don't listen. I don't do listen. First of all, what's good these days? I've cut it back. There's no more grams a day. Like a really, really long day might be like a point 0.7, point 0.8. But when you see those Instagram videos, it's all for the hyping all the BS, and I have the lungs to do it, so why not, And if I'm at the Organic Cup and my homies at Hetty Box Club, shout out to Hetty Box Club. Those are my dudes, They were so nice. The dude asked me to watch his rig for like 2 seconds. I'm like, sure, of course I'll watch your rig. I come back, he hands me a glob. I'm like, this isn't a dab, dude. I'm like, this is like a gram. He's like, no, just take it. So I was like, okay. So, I do, and then stuff at home, I do that it's funny, man. It's funny, and it's, it's funny. It's educational. It's holy shit. Like, a lot of people didn't think that was humanly possible. Excuse me. I remember my friends' faces when they would come over, when I would first show them in my apartment, dabbing, like the clouds you would get from the titanium. They were like, dude, what the F, but yeah, no, I usually do probably 0.1 to 0.2s at a time, maybe probably a 0.6 a day, I would say. But if I have a rough day, I might hit a gram. Yes. But I'm pretty under control.
All right, on. So what is your favorite? I mean, we talked about terps, man. Do you have a favorite terp? Which is the favorite? Or is it just like food? You gotta mix it up every day.
What a question. No, without a doubt, without a doubt, Tropicana cookies is up there. One of my number ones. And without a doubt, GMO. Anything garlic, anything. I have some black garlic right now that the way I describe it, I tell, I'm in Queens, I'm in New York City. I have some of the best pizza places just within a mile of me. And I tell people the black garlic tastes like your favorite pizza place smells. You know what I mean? Like the beautiful smell of a pizza being made. You know what I mean? Like I can't. The way I explain these terpenes are phenomenal. And that's really what it tastes like. It's like, wow, it tastes like I'm smelling garlic. It's really great stuff. But I would have to say, yeah, Trop cookies and some GMO, and definitely anything papaya. And my first ever go-to was my straw nana. I always love the straw nana for a fruity tart, which I have a shitload of, so that's good. I'm very happy at the moment. Some really good straw nana. I'm sorry, bro. I can't hear you.
That was my bad.
It's all
So
good.
when you see something else, how quick can you get it into your hands? I mean, your guys' team.
Well, I'm not seeing anything. We're making it. So like I just said, my newest one was like kind of a marriage of some of my favorite ones, the garlic melons. Like when I broke it down before, like that is the newest one right now. And the banana bread right now. Oof. Yeah, I took my banana bread right now. It's no more than 2.5 weeks old. It finished curing. I whipped it and I finished curing it a week ago. Because they do all the work in my undisclosed location, and I do all the whipping and curing, packaging, promoting, all that stuff. I do. I'm the face of the company, all that. But man, I would have to say like the garlic melons. I just took some phenomenal banana kush that we made and crossed it with some unbelievable gelato melons, and like, whew, like there's other, like if you look up the strain, it'll be called something else, but I name my own mixtures. I don't really give a shit, like it legit tastes like banana bread. So I go, done. We're calling it banana bread. My one buddy goes, let's call it banana mac. And it's like, no, we're calling it banana bread. You know, like it's marketing is key, you know. Oh, and I'm sorry, it was a super hybrid. There was also some alien mac cookies pressed with that. So there's like this little kick of gas with the banana bread, but it straight tastes like grandma just took it out the oven.
You guys make some of your strains to kind of, create something just,
That's
a
all we
little.
do. That's all
Oh,
we do.
okay, cool.
Like that's almost all we do. Yeah. It's become our bread and butter, to be honest.
Do you see you guys? Do you see yourself branching out at all into other faces or other edibles, shit like that?
I mean, I've got a lot going on. I can't really talk about at the moment. You know, I got to keep my cards close to the table, as they say here in Queens. I can't really go into some certain situations, but yeah, no, we have Italian rosin. I I am the working man's rosin supplier. I'm shutting down services. Okay, this is what we're doing. You know, and I'm only saying that here. That's it.
Right. So, do you is how are the events over there where you are? Are they as free and comparable as to some of the stuff you've seen in Michigan? Was that your first trip to Michigan, by the way?
That was absolutely my first trip. Yeah. Um, how were you were asking me how was the other rosins that I saw? How the other
No, no,
companies?
no. Do you guys are getting more events like you've seen here in Michigan? Are
Oh,
there more like
there's
that?
been I've already done two this month. I have one on Saturday, and then the weekend after I'm doing Saturday and Sunday. I'm not a big show guy, but I like to promote, and I really want to show the people like what they're missing. Like a lot of people do not know what this is, and they need to. You know, it seems overwhelming at first, but it's a necessity. And like I said, it's the healthiest way to consume it. It's the most effective, and it's changed my and many other people's I know's lives, all for the positive. Straight up, straight up. I don't mean to be in a rush. I really appreciate you having me here, man. I'd love to go in a little more.
I can see it in
Um,
your eyes, brother. I can see it in your
oh,
eyes.
dude, it's 1 a.m., man, and after that dab I just did now, so I've been up all day. So, but I'll do this. You hit me up, man. I'll do this anytime you want, man. I had a blast.
Right on. Well, before you go, there's a couple of things we got to take care of.
Let's do it.
So the first, I want to explain to you how things work around here on the channel. There's three aspects you'll find around here. That's what we've done tonight. That's where the community kind of gets to know you a little bit, and kind of induction type thing. Secondly, is a little thing I call the Weed Nerd World. And the Weed Nerd World is like a panel type show that's only open to past guests, which you are now one of. So keep that link that I sent you is always good for you, my friend. Anytime
Awesome.
that you see a Weed Nerd World in the title, you're more than welcome. Come hang out, tell us what you got going, where you're going to be, hang out, talk some shit with us. Most of the time it's cannabis, but for, we're an open-minded crowd, so sometimes we might be talking psilocybin, sometimes we might be talking conspiracy theories or something close to on psilocybin. You never know.
All interesting
It's
stuff. All
It's
very
fun crowd.
interesting stuff.
Yeah. So you can find the Weed Nerd World Wednesdays at 11 o'clock, for sure, set in stone kind of set thing. The rest of the time, they're kind of hit and miss. Depends on the guest. I told you earlier, the time slot's 11:30 to 4:20. The guest doesn't go the distance. Then most nights I will turn around and fire up a Weed Nerd World and kind of finish out the night like that. But all cases, you are more than welcome. At this point, unless it's a one-on-one, it's come and go as you please in the Weed Nerd World. So please keep that in mind. And yeah, I know I'd be looking forward to hanging out with you again 100%.
Looking forward to it, Eagle. I'll make sure to have a coffee next time before we do this, all right?
All right. The last thing I want to get from you is a silly little thing I call the sound bite. It will be a commercial for your episode at one point. So basically, what I'm looking for, my version would be, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 763. 64. I almost fucked that up. 64. And you say whatever you want before, after that, as long as it's in the body somewhere. I don't care. I'm ready, my friend, anytime you are.
This meeting is being recorded.
Ha!
Yo, Hightalian Rosin out of Queens, New York. Looking forward to another party with your boy Eagle. Check him out.
There you go. Thank you, my friend, for hanging out. It was fun getting to know you a little further than hanging out with you at the cup the other evening. So I hope to see you soon, either here or in one of these fun events that we have in Michigan, because I doubt I'll be in New York anytime soon, my friend. But you never know. I need to get out there. Some amazing people out
take
there.
a break,
sure.
man. I'll take it for some of the best steak you have in your life. You come by anytime. And yo, hit up the cell anytime. I'll be back.
Right.
I was a little low energy tonight, and I'm usually higher energy, but
hey, man, I'm just grateful that you took the time to come hang out, man. A lot of people would have canceled or whatever, tired or not, man. You showed up, and I respect
no,
that
I
shit.
do. I don't. I'm a man of my word, and I made a couple of people laugh. So I think we did all right.
Right on. With that being said, hopefully you have a good evening. For the rest of you guys, hopefully we'll see you sometime soon in the Weed Nerd World. If not, please remember to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. With that being said, we are out of here. Peace, my friend. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me, man. Be good, guys.